New year, new releases. Here are 22 unmissable games coming in 2022. Okay, we might have jumped the gun a little bit here, so let's just start out by saying 2021 was a great year for gaming. Check out our year in review to see why, and to finally put faces to the voices you've heard nattering on about video games for the past year. And feel free to let us know in the comments what your favourite game of 2021 was. However, it's 2022 now. We've got resolutions to pretend we're going to keep, new gym subscriptions to pay for, probably another couple of months before we realise it's eating into valuable gaming time, and we've got a lot of new games to save up for and count down to. Before we jump in, however, make sure to subscribe and start your year off right by hitting the notification bell so you never miss another video from us. Now, in no particular order, because most of them don't have specific dates beyond 2022 yet, here are 22 unmissable games coming out in 2022. We got a glimpse of Redfall at the Xbox Showcase last year, a pretty generous glimpse actually, that showed us the 4 characters we'll get to play as in this upcoming co-op adventure all about taking down blood-sucking vampires in style. Each character seems to have a unique ability to help them avoid unwanted neck biting, and yes, we'll be playing as Layla and using her telekinetic powers to cause utter carnage. That's not up for debate. This next one might sound familiar, but for any die-hard PC gamers that haven't had a chance to play this dad simulator disguised as an unforgettable action-adventure game, this is your year. In God of War, you get to take on mythical beasts from Norse mythology, fling your Leviathan axe around like a deadly boomerang, solve environmental puzzles, and try to deal with Atreus' many tantrums. Now, from the comfort of your own desk. Next up, we have the highly anticipated Elden Ring, a game on the wishlist of everyone who likes to play their games on so hard it makes you want to retire from gaming difficulty. This new action RPG from the masters of combat that makes you want to cry a little looks incredible, and you get to play as a tarnished and discover the lands between, refine your skills, hone your magic, and take on seemingly undefeatable bosses in this beautiful, brutal world. Those who have played the original back in 2019, or who have a phobia of rats, will surely remember A Plague Tale well. This stealth game was all about avoiding disease-ridden rodents through the sewers and alleys of France in the 1300s, all whilst trying to keep your little brother Hugo safe. In A Plague Tale Requiem, we're back playing as Amicia, who went on a real journey from innocent to ruthless over the course of the first game. Speaking of returning characters, the rats are back and they've brought friends. More rats. In the reveal trailer, we see them arriving in horrifying furry waves, so make sure to bring your snorkel when that releases. 2022 is already set to be a big year for DC fans, and Gotham City is the setting for our first DC entry. In Gotham Knights, Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood and Robin team up in this dark, misty open-world action RPG to rain justice down on Gotham. When it releases in 2022, we'll be solving mysteries, tracking down bad guys, and trying to clean the neon-lit streets of the violence that plagues it.
If you really want to go down this rabbit hole, you need to know there's no coming back from it.
Set 20 years after the original, Dying Light 2 is a sequel to the original zombie survival RPG featuring an all-new protagonist, Aiden Caldwell, as Aiden will be swinging, leaping and landing gracefully on the heads of unsuspecting zombies in this post-apocalyptic playground. Our parkour proficient protagonist will be making choices that affect the world around him, which can include aiding and destroying settlements, or just spend your time practicing the perfect zombie crash landing. It's really up to you. Starfield, the most exciting game we know hardly anything about. Every gamer has been counting down to the unspecified date that we'll get to take to the stars and experience this upcoming RPG by Bethesda. Set in the 2300s, Starfield is, in the words of Todd Howard, like NASA meets Indiana Jones meets the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a group of people that are searching for answers. It's a space exploration game about finding out what else is out there, and given how long we've been waiting for this game, we're hoping the answer is quite a lot. Somerville may be the debut title from new indie studio Jumpship, but the co-founder previously worked on horror icons Limbo and Inside, and the vibe has certainly carried across to this upcoming sci-fi game. It's a dark, foreboding adventure about trying to make your family whole again, although what exactly this entails, we'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed it doesn't involve giant blob people this time though. It might just be a reflection on how desperate we are to step into the toe beans of this furry feline, but Stray feels like a game that's been on its way for a while. Set for an early 2022 release window, this upcoming adventure game is so close we can almost feel our pet hair allergies starting to flare up. We'll be exploring a futuristic neon cyber city to try and get our cat friend back home. We're imagining plenty of environmental puzzles, robot friends and foes, and hopefully lots of chin scratches. Cuteness isn't taking a day off with this next entry. Bear and Breakfast is a relaxing management sim where you run a bed and breakfast as a bear. Sign us up. We'll be decorating and renovating a cozy B&B in the woods, welcoming guests, cooking up a storm, and discovering everything the forest has to offer, for better or worse. It looks like there'll be plenty to keep us busy in Bear and Breakfast. And just look at that busy little bear butt.
Be advised that in the forest you may encounter dangerous, wild animals.
Fancy a second helping of Slime? Slime Rancher is back in the aptly named Slime Rancher 2, and we'll be heading across the Slime Sea and dipping back into this pastel dream when it releases in 2022. In Slime Rancher 2, you'll be picking up the backpack of Beatrix LeBeau once more, and wrangling all manner of adorable slimes that will jiggle their way into your heart. The sequel is set on an all-new Rainbow Island, with plenty of secrets to uncover and new slimes, like the bouncy cotton slime and the aquatic angler slime to discover. Fans of the 2 Point games will already have an idea of what a campus-based installment of this franchise might have on the curriculum. This series of management games has an utterly bonkers sense of humour, but that doesn't mean it's not a tricky management sim where you need to give your budding academics everything they need to get their degrees, whilst making sure the money keeps rolling in and that the only debt belongs to the students. Yeah, sorry about that.
Academia has never been more appealing.
You know what all sequels we've had on the list so far have been lacking? Vin Diesel. In fact, all these games are missing a certain gravel-voiced muscle man to lead the adventure, but Ark 2 does not make that mistake, oh no. In this sequel to Ark Survival Evolved, we'll be dropping back into a sandbox world and trying to survive and, dare we say it, thrive. Because let's be honest with ourselves here, if a war-painted prehistoric Vin Diesel demanded we dive headfirst into a fight with a T-Rex, we'd gladly do it, no questions asked.
Lights out, old friend.
Next up, we have the visual delight Little Devil Inside. This haunting action-adventure is set in a Victorian-like era full of creatures and monsters. After being hired by a professor at the university to study and investigate reports of paranormal activities, you'll be exploring this weird and wonderful world and discovering more about the creatures and people that inhabit it. From what we've seen, it looks like it's going to be a truly unique experience, and one that we can't wait to have in 2022. We've got another exciting RPG on the list in the form of Broken Roads, which takes inspiration from traditional computer role-playing games to bring us this isometric Australian adventure. It's a post-apocalyptic setting with turn-based combat and decision-based dialogue. The highlight of Broken Roads for us, however, is the moral compass. This is an in-game morality system that means the choices you make and the dialogue options you pick will influence your character and the opinions of those around you.
My nan called it the end of time.
Another DC heavy hitter coming out in 2022 is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. This new action-adventure game is from the creators of the Arkham series and looks every bit as chaotic as its movie counterparts, with all our favourite characters making an appearance. We've got Harley Quinn, of course, because what is Suicide Squad without her? And joining her we've got Captain Boomerang, voiced by Will Arnett, Deadshot and the iconic King Shark to take down targets and generally raise hell. We can't wait.
So, figure out who we're killing yet? Oh.
Looks like we'll be spending a lot of time in Zero Gravity this year, as Kerbal's Space Program 2 is yet another sci-fi exploration game to add to our wishlist for 2022. The sequel to the beloved and deceptively complex space sim that puts you in charge of a space program of an alien race called the Kerbals. In 2, you'll have gorgeous new graphics and plenty of additional features that build on the original game and make it feel fresh in 2022. We're glad we get to float into the new year with the Kerbals. Night School Studios' debut title OXENFREE may have released back in 2014, but its mind-bending retro horror hasn't left our minds. OXENFREE 2 Lost Signals is a sequel, but we won't be playing as Alex or helping her dysfunctional group, including her new stepbrother and budding romances, to escape the island. Instead, OXENFREE 2 focuses on Riley, who's returned to her hometown of Kamina and seems to fall victim to the mysterious radio signals of the game's predecessor. Although not much has been showed so far, we expect it to get weird. Very, very weird.
Riley, are you there?
We're sure we're not the only ones who grew up on the blocky-faced Harry Potter games on PS1, and still occasionally have nightmares about flat-faced Hagrid, which means we're sure we're not the only ones who are a tiny bit jealous that the newest generation of gamers are going to get to grow up with this as their Harry Potter game. Hogwarts Legacy is an upcoming, immersive, expansive action RPG, where you get to play as a student with the ability to master ancient magic without a single flat-faced teacher in sight. We'll let you decide if that's a good thing or not. The next entry is a little bit of wishful thinking, because on Steam, the release date of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, always run out of breath on that title, is currently sat at TBC. But given that this highly anticipated action RPG was originally going to sink its teeth into our lives in 2021, it seems reasonable to hope we'll get to step into this dark and dangerous Seattle this year. Keep your fingers crossed and lightsabers, sabering for this next entry. Although LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga has had a couple of delays since its initial 2020 release window, 2022 looks to be the year we'll get to knock the block off of some stormtroopers and play across all 9 of the Star Wars Saga films. May the Force be with us all in 2022. And finally, from Japanese developer Tango Gameworks, who brought us The Evil Within 1 and 2, we have Ghostwire Tokyo. It feels like a lifetime ago we were watching people disappear into piles of coats in eerie Tokyo streets during E3. But 2022 is finally the year we get to step into this haunting action-adventure as you seek to take on the supernatural forces at play. And breathe. So those are the 22 games you're going to want to check out in 2022. Let us know which of those many games you're excited for in the comments, and make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video from us.
Clear signs of cult activity as the locals engage.
Hey!